I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna show you an example of something super cool. All right, so net 300. All right, so let's say 20. And then your cost of sale, let's put it at 30. All right, so that's 350. What's your average commission? What's 350 divided by 15,000? That'll give us units. 23. 23.3, let's do 23. All right, out of 23 closings, or out of your closings last year, how many were buyer versus seller?
60-40, 60 seller.
Okay, so let me go 60, 40. If you had 10 listings, how many would close versus expire?
Well, for me, in the last 12 months, none expired. Okay. But I had one cancel. So
yeah, so that's one. So let's say 80%. All right, so now somebody take 14 and divide it by 0.8. Okay, so we're gonna say 18. Which means we have to have 18 listings to sell 14 at an 80% close rate. 20% fallout that's the math. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we went on 10 listing appointments, how many would you get versus not get out of 10?
9.
Okay, so here's the beautiful part of that answer, and I don't doubt that that's the right answer. When someone's at a 90% ratio, it usually means two things. They're choosing to not lead generate because they're taking the layups of people that they get and they're at the mercy of whoever shows up. Because top businesses are at 60 to 70% because they're working with people they don't know. And you don't convert everyone you don't know. That's where models and systems of everything that we teach at Glover U is to get you prepared online, to get you prepared with a pre-listing packet, to learn how to qualify, etc. Now, if somebody was closing a huge amount of business and they had an 80% ratio, it would mean that they a pro at qualifying because they only meet with people that are ready, willing, and able to do business, which again is a different skill. So this is how I can tell you how I share. All I need to see is the numbers. I can tell you exactly what's going on in anybody's business. So we're gonna say 80% here. So now take 18 and divide it by 0.8.
22.5.
All right, so let's say 23, which means every other week, unless we do the 40 weeks, but in this case, every other week you have to meet with the seller. So now, other side, buyers. What's 23 divided by 40? Like, what's 40% of 23? So the 9?
9.2.
Yeah, 9. Percent of buyers that are in your car that will close. So how many flake or just don't buy?
Say like 70%.
Okay. All right, so now take 9 and divide it by 0.7. So that's 13. And the amount of buyer consultations that don't sign a buyer broker agreement or decide that you or them don't want to work together.
80%.
Okay, so 80% do. All right, so now take 13 and divide it by 0.8, which would be 80%.
16.2.
16. All right, here's what I would do here. So we take 39, because I added these two together, and this becomes the flag on the hill, rounded up to 40. How fast can you sit on 40 appointments? Like a soccer fan paints their face fanatical, because then your ratios will either be made up or they'll be real. And then everything will take care of itself. Like Indiana Jones, when the ball starts rolling, it's just momentum. All you have to do is know that number 39. All right, so now, Fran, we're gonna have some fun here. First thing you need to do is be able to stomach $2,000 a month. Because watch what happens. You sit on 24 appointments and half of them kick you out and they say, get out of my house. Mm-hmm. But half of them decide to work with you, that's 12. But you learn how to price property correctly. You learn how to work with someone's motivation and get price adjustments and communicate with your seller every single week. And instead of 50% conversion, you have a 70% conversion. Will somebody take 12 and multiply it times 0.7?
That's gonna equal 8.4.
8.4, yeah. So let's round it down to 8. What did you guys just see there? You added $20,000. And coaching is expensive? You didn't change any of your expenses. You sure the hell didn't change anything else that you're doing other than becoming a stronger, better agent. And this is the beautiful part once you understand the economic model and you understand this is just math, and you change this to 60%. And then you just keep working and you're like, oh my God, I don't have to work anymore. I don't have to work any harder. I'm working smarter. And then what you'll find, that I'm not gonna do it now, but this is something y'all and Joel should be spending some time on. Watch what happens when you increase your operating expenses to buy leads. Like, learn how to convert them before you throw money at them. You're not throwing money at leads. You learn, like, you have a model and a system. Then you bring in technology. But if you were to increase your operating expenses by $20,000, how much easier would it be to find more people to meet with? And then now all the ratios just start to work, and all you have to do is close 2 more deals. Because you added 20,000, your average commission is 10. You guys see how this works? It's math. It's not an opinion. This is how you sell a shit ton of real estate. You just now focus on how fanatical can I get with this. And so you guys are gonna have a workshop on this and play in the sandbox. I just want you to really understand how this works. This is the first model called the economic model. If you don't track your numbers, you're hoping and praying. And that's not a strategy. If I didn't go on an appointment today, seriously, what do I accomplish? Now that's in direct proportion to your number. And that's just to put $8,000 in your pocket at failing 50%. And the only reason someone wouldn't be able to do it is because they're not investing the money in the leads, or they're not improving their skill set to speak to people they don't know. That's the only reason. Because this is equal opportunity, unequal share. Every day, somebody wakes up and says, I'm moving, I'm selling. Every day. Your job is to get in front of them and say, hey, we should meet. It goes back to think standards. So this here is the Glover U version of the same thing we just did. And it's called the needs and wants exercise. So the first step is, you all have it there. It's all right, what is your cost of living? You would take your cost of living, which would include your business expenses. So at Glover U, we do it more rounded, where the economic model is your business, because you should be separating. You should never be colluding your funds or commingling. And yet, because we round out some of the edges and we attract all walks of agent, we want you to bring it all together. So the cost of living in running your business and your family. If you have outside income, like investment properties, alimony, you won the lottery, whatever, you subtract the outside income from what your nut is monthly expense, and then you get C as the math of what those numbers are. So if it costs 100,000 and you got 50,000 coming in, we gotta bring in 50. Then what is the investment into our business? So what are we going to invest into our business to hit our goal? So then we add C and D, that gives us E. Then we take our commission, 10,000, 15,000, divide it by whatever number we came up with. And that tells us our units, which is what we did at the top of the economic model. That's what we did at the top here. And then you take that number and you divide it by 0.2, because you have to add fallout. I recommend you do 0.3 because that's what we're seeing, but you can't think that if you need to close 12 deals, you put 12 deals together. You probably have to put 15 to close 12.